Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Grand Rising, today is a new day to start again. It is 4/5/2025. So I've been doing these videos for a while, and I've done a lot of them. They mostly say the same thing over and over again. I've said a long time ago when I started doing these that I was doing them for myself, which really is true. It helps me prioritize where I'm putting my energy, because I think that's the most important thing that we can do in our lives today. I think once you figure out that there is a lot of energy in this realm and that we're basically an instrument for that energy, it's our responsibility to use that energy in a responsible manner, depending on how aware you are of what you're doing with your life and how much influence you have in the people that are around you. So all of that also is tied to spirituality. But when I started doing these, what I wanted to do, I think gratitude is the key to that, really. If you are grateful for the life that you have, you will live in a grateful manner. But you can't just play like be grateful. You have to truly be grateful. And that's really easy to do, actually, but it does seem to have a hard impact on your life, from what I found, because the system's not really based on that. Let's get into sales, I guess. So I guess where I was trying to preempt this video is I have one person that really watches this, and his suggestion is that it's way too bloviated. I talk too much and that I should trim down my videos. So I've been trying to work on that because I have one person that's giving me feedback. But this video is going to be long because I wrote a bunch. And so I'm going against what the one person that's giving me constructive, I don't say it's criticism. I think he's correct too, but I go my own way. So here we go. I opened April with a closed sale. So I started out, I had a horrible March, and then I'm ready to start April. And the first day that I work, I closed my first sale. I'm ready to go. And then I continued to go. I missed the next 4. We haven't had a lot of traffic. And I have been struggling anyways. So the next day I went 0 for 2. And then the next day I went 0 for 3. So I'm 1 for 10. I just gave a video 3 videos ago about how I need, and what are you going to do? Every 2.3 hours is what I had for a customer, to get a customer. But tomorrow might be a great day. I'm nervous because sometimes Saturdays you'll have a big day where you'll have a lot of customers. And I've had several Saturdays where I went 0 for 11. It's happened 4 or 5 times here at this place where I'm at. And if I do that again, and then I got a Sunday where I don't see very many customers or I don't sell very much, I'm going to go into the last day of my work week with one. There's foreseeable, really difficult circumstances. But whatever. I never used to stress, so I'm not going to try to do that now. I do feel like I need to blow my nose. Can I pause this? I wish I could just pause this. You know what? This is my world. I'm going to take you with me while I go and blow my nose. You don't get to see too much of my house, but I don't like starting these videos over, and I don't want to have a nose that's stuffed up. I don't think it's allergies. All right, so I'm gonna put this down for a second. There's nowhere really good place to do this. I put you down over here though. See, I thought that through. Instead of just putting you down and blowing my nose, I can put you down where we're supposed to be. We think on the fly here at Today is a new day to start again, new day to start. My rebranding really has not went very well. It's really the same thing that I was doing. All right, let me go off camera and blow my nose. This may be the longest video yet. Okay. I feel a lot better. So I'm working on my form. That's all I can really do is work on my form. We could role play. Like, there's no way I could convince my coworkers to role play with me, but that could help, or at least like sit in groups and pitch on. That would be a cool thing to do, as a pitch session. How would you sell this? Or just kind of talk through it. You don't have to make it all structured. Those kinds of things I think could go a long way. I think it is important to team build sometimes. You got to figure out ways to team build. And I don't really know how to go about doing that. I mean, I do, but I'm just staying out of the way. I got on a Discord server last night and it was crickets. It's same people. There's a few people on there. There's just been a lot of very dramatic things that have happened in what I would call the alternative, I don't know how to say it. There's a lot of stuff going on with people that were very vocal about very controversial subjects. Like, headline people have endured a lot of really dramatic things and happenstances recently. And there's a lot of people that, one of the reasons why I started doing these videos is when I really feel like I awakened, I had nowhere to go. I got to the point where I truly didn't even like to watch even these personalities that are now fallen from grace or doing different things than what was my original reasoning why I was listening to them or watching them. Was you do feel very alone when you get secluded into some of the beliefs that I've found myself exploring. And whenever you get to that point where you feel like you can put your name and label on what you found, and then you probably shouldn't, especially when it's controversial and you can't really back it up. I mean, there's no real way to back it up. So it's just a stupid thing. Looking back on it, I wish I would have never done that. I should have been way more, just leave it. There's no reason to publicly say anything about anything. But now I'm doing it every day. But anyways, once you've done that though, and you do feel very secluded, it's hard to find anywhere to like take your thoughts, like where you want to find some resonance. And so I started doing these videos just really for myself. I can watch myself, if that helps. And I did that for a little bit, but I feel like this, where am I at now? Oh, I got a little bit into personal stuff. I don't know that I really need to do that. I will say this, that being a divorced dad, especially when you are not with your children, it just carries a ton of status to it that is detrimental. I don't think it's really in my head. It is a thing, and it does affect you in the marketplace when you have poor standing as a father and a husband. It just does. I don't care what you say. You look at me different because there's all kinds of implied things that there could be happening here. I could be an abusive, all of that could be, it could be verbally. There's a reason why I'm estranged to myself and why I'm not there. So it's difficult to overcome that when you have nothing next to you. I have no one like staying. I think he's a good guy. I have nobody. No one. No one did that for me. I got mental health. That's where I get into mental health issues. Anyways, where am I at? So it's so difficult because you don't have any credibility. So why do I keep doing these videos? Because I've had to endure a lot. It's been eventful, And whether I'm right or wrong, at least there's something where people can come and look and see, especially if something bad happens to me. Not that I would ever want that. I do think energy is important. So I don't think you can recant things that you said, but you just need to like put your energy away and maybe rebuke. I think it's okay to say I rebuke in the name of Jesus or whatever you want to call it. Because life is hard. And I have had no one really to talk to other than I have Bodhi, my cat. I don't want to be a downer ever. I don't want that. I am blessed. I've been really blessed with my life. Just having breath is a blessing, but like my life has been really amazing, honestly. I'm way too hard on myself. I think when I do these, it's like leaving it on the table for me, where it's like I failed in all kinds of ways, and here it is. Here's how I failed, guys. Sorry. So it helps me in some way. I had a very defining moment yesterday with someone who thinks that I'm a pothead. It's obvious. And just in the words that were said, I saw it clear as day. And some people, you can kind of see a whole thing with that. It's amazing. I will say, as you get further along into what I would call the awakening, you do become so much more aware, and things line up so much easier, and you see things and you know how to interact. And from that point on, I think people think that being a pothead is the same as an alcoholic. I think that they tie those two together as the destructive behaviors that come from them. And what I would say is it's just not true. Just because you've had a good idea when you're high or when you're drunk doesn't diminish its value. Some of the greatest things that have ever been written were done under the influence. I was giving personal insight, and it was declared in a factual manner that I smoked too much weed. And I just let it go. Because weed wasn't even part of the interaction. Like, it came out of left field. And, but it was central in what was being said as the diminish of and I just allowed it to happen and was like, okay, there you go. And moved on. I don't need to be in this discussion. I'm playing chess and you're playing checkers. I've pretty much pissed everybody off, so let's get into it. Woohoo! All right, I'm going to get into this alcohol versus weed thing. I live in Indiana. Indiana is like one of those states. I think there's two that don't have. There was Sunday blue laws that lasted forever, but I don't even know. Is there still some? I think there's still Sunday blue laws. And then the whole marijuana thing. So in addiction, this is what I wanted to nail on. Addiction. This whole idea of people that get overcome by these different addictions. And what's good addiction, what's bad addiction. And the whole process of this is what I really think I can help people with, is the getting rid of, maybe not, I've train wrecked my life, but getting rid of bad behavior is not as hard as it seems to be. And we do cradle it all into this like idea of addiction and these substances when it's really a behavior. It ain't the alcohol. It ain't the weed. It ain't the coke. It ain't the meth. It's not the oxy. It's not the gambling. It's not the porn. Where do you put your allegiance and your energy? Addiction is lack of faith. It's Jesus take the wheel, but I'm going to get drunk. You don't get to do that. That's not what the song says. It doesn't say, Jesus, take the wheel. No, Jesus, take the wheel, but I'm going to be here for it. That's what it is. But you still are allowed to partake. But if you can't, then you shouldn't. But that doesn't mean always and forever. That just means right now. I'm not strong enough. I think that's part of the problem whenever people try to quit. First of all, there's this idea that you can't regulate yourself down. You can't self-discipline yourself. And it is difficult to do, for sure. And there's a bad historicity to people saying, I'm going to cut back to 10 cigarettes, now to 5 cigarettes, now to 3 cigarettes, and that whole deal. And then, so I don't want to get deep into this, other than it's, like I said, it's a choice that you make, but you can pick anything. Start with something small. And it doesn't have to be forever. You can get better at it each day. You can chop woods for 3 days and then not chop woods for 6 days and then come back and chop wood for 4 days, and you're still gaining. Your reward is life. Your reward is life. Do with it what you will. Your free will. I don't know. This is way off. I honestly am tired of the whole industry of profiteering. I think that if you are trying to gain monetary or social status due to the way that you are showing your way, that just doesn't seem to work. And I don't think that you can, there's so many different ways to attain improvement in your life. You don't have to have 12 steps, and you don't have to have these clear-cut codes that when you come into there, you have to have these codes that are there. And I really do think that people that don't resonate with many of the structures that were there are different ways to overcome everything, but whenever you put a label on it and a structure that has motives that aren't always completely aligned with the actual essence of really just getting everyone to do better in their own personal life without having money entwined or social status or the way that you're gaining in that manner. I don't know, I'm way off in the weeds. I have a point. You're not supposed to do things for reward, and that includes addiction. You don't quit so that you can become this. You quit because it's hurting you and those that are around you, and it's time to stop doing it. That's why you quit. You're not gaining anything from that. You don't get to have a messy for a long period of time and then clean it, and then everybody gets to come up to you and be so proud of you that you did what you did. You should have done that a long time ago. So I guess I started to sing. You are not alone. That's the big one for me, is that I want to show people that you're never really alone. Somebody's probably been down the same road that you're on. There's been a road for a long time. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. And I think I'm on the second page. This is going to be the longest video ever. I should have intermissions. All right, so my success story, any success that I've gained through this entire thing, is tainted by marijuana. Like, I think that's really on the edge of it, is that I couldn't quit smoking weed. And it's not true, by the way. I did quit for almost 2 years. Everyone that I talk to that cares about me seems to want to reflect back on the weed. I've heard that quite a bit when I've said, and people will ask me if I'm sober, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm sober. And then they'll be like, are you smoking weed? And I'm like, why do I have to answer that question? I think people think that everything that's happened to me is a result of a lack of will. I wouldn't quit smoking the ganja. It's an easy out. There are characteristics that line up with that narrative for sure. That's what I will say is also very evident in the truth community. What you will have is a preponderance of evidence for some kind of narrative. And it's hard to fight against something like that, because even if you have contradictory insight because of the narrative and having a preponderance of evidence on top of self-affirming collaboration, Oftentimes you'll just have things that will collaborate something that you already said was true, but it really doesn't get to the crux of the matter that you don't know for sure. It's just adding to the narrative. Like, I don't want to get into it. I could really. There is a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, according to video evidence of a group going down and going to a place that's in Antarctica and showing a 24-hour sun going around in a circle. And that had a huge impact on a lot of people's reality. So there's that. I don't really have any reaction to it. Here's what I would say. Through everything that I've been through, what I found was the way. So regardless of where I'm at, I call it a realm, and that's what I believe it is, regardless of what anybody says outside of that. There's a realm that we live in, and I believe that there's a way that has been left to us that is there and always has been, that's been shown by every truth that I've looked into as far as going back and deep into things. It just always seems to come back to self. It always comes back to self-love. And once you come into really accordance with self-love, that generates into this purpose, which is really defined by your characteristics, your character that you play. The mentally ill is a huge narrative in the development of the United States of America. Mentally ill, the psychological movement, the sociological movement really began in the early 1900s. And there was a lot of talk of youth, of basically, Hitler didn't come up with a superior race. This was something that was really big in the developers of our Teddy Roosevelt. Most people don't know this kind of stuff, but there were things going on, and these people that were involved in the formulation of this thing that we have now, the core of it is backed into mental illness. There were huge insane asylums all over, and these things were big. And if you look at like what it was that qualified, you can find some documented evidence of what it was, what were the qualifications to get somebody, and they're really old, like from the 1800s. And if you look through the list, I mean, you could pretty much get thrown in there for anything. For the record, I did quit smoking weed. I circled back to that for almost 2 years. During all of this, during my whole thing, I was completely stone sober. I didn't relapse. I chose. Other people made choices too. I take full account of where I am in my life right now, where I stand. With palms wide open, I'm 50. I'm here to help. We're at 23 minutes. Nobody's watching this. I don't want to hurt anyone. I want to stay out of the way of your success. Go get it. I'm thrilled for you. You know what I used to love? Let's see if I can get through this without crying. I used to love, my favorite thing really in my life was tucking my daughters in to sleep. I really enjoyed that. That was kind of my job for a long time. It was one of my favorite things to do. I got through it. I also like trying to wake them up happy. Like in my divorce time, one of my things I was trying to do was show them how to start the day off in a good way. And people that don't want to do that, or the narratives, why would you want to be in the camp of people that says, I can't get up? Why don't you get into the camp of let's make it to where we can? And we're excited about the day. So it was a challenge. So you come off like and you know, this is our hard part too. Whenever you try to do that, portray that, whenever you slip up and you have your own moments of weakness, everybody just piles on that. You're sitting here saying to do that. Look at you. I know. I screw up too. That's what you're trying to say. But I need help. That's what I want, is everyone to help. I'm sorry, though. I shouldn't have done that. That doesn't matter, though. Next day, try again. Today is a new day to start again. Let's make it to where our goal is to have the best morning ever. That's what I wanted to teach them, is that's what you bring it into the day. Every morning is a choice. Kind of like addiction or bad habits. You can actually quit in the middle of the day, too. I think most people do quit in the mornings when they wake up. Maybe at the nights. You know what? Now that I think about that, that was a strategy for me for when I quit smoking, I think the last time. Because I'd already quit twice and I knew I could do it. But I think I strategized that I wanted to quit like mid-morning so that I could sleep it off and then go into the next day. I planned it so that when the real intense addictions came in. And then I was listening to people on the Discord server last night, and I didn't get to say what I wanted to say, but I have found that this was really helpful for me. In all 3 times that I quit, there were 3 times that I quit. Something about threes. I felt like if in the beginning of it, I wanted to tell myself I need to make it through the first 3 days. And then I noticed at the 3rd day, I had a lift where it seemed really a lot easier. But then that lift wears off, and then I had a new goal of 3 weeks. And I did find that at that 3-week mark, I got a major lift. And the thing is, that lift only lasts for so long. And as I was going along with it, I found that the goal of having 3 months became something very attainable. And so that became a thing for me, and it went into 3 years. That 3-year mark was very important for me in what I was doing with this. And, but I wanted to say that because something about numbers, maybe it's not maybe it was just the format of it. You don't have to necessarily use 3, but you do gain momentum, but you do lose momentum after certain points, it seems. How you start your day and how your start impacts others. That's another thing. I'm doing these videos. I'm like, what if I can bring that every day, bring it every day? And if that helps any other person, because I'm alone, at least it helps somebody that's not alone, and they might have a good impact on the people that they're around. And that way I can have more of an impact on the world, because right now it's just me and Bodhi. All this goodness that I get in the mornings, I give it to me and Bodhi, and today is a new day to start again. But it, for me, should be a non-negotiable. Like when you wake up, it should be a non-negotiable that your main intent moving forward is to go as long as you can today without screwing up. And that means not screwing it up for other people. And you're going to screw up. I would say how we go to bed and how we wake up in the morning with our loved ones defines our relationships. Like when you do live with someone, how you go to bed at night, they used to say you should always, say I love you, make sure you go to bed on good terms. I think that's really important, actually. You should have unconditional love. By the end of every night before you go to bed, everybody should know in that house, everybody's loved here in the end of it. We're all together. That needs to be a thing, I think. I think that really helps anyways. And there are some families, and mine was in my growing up family. My dad had a thing of always, and my mom made him do it, of always coming back after I was being a spoiled brat and I was completely in the wrong. And Dad was supposed to come up and say, you're a little shit, but we still love you. When I got off work as a husband, I always called my wife every night. It was a thing that I did. It really was an obligation, a nod of compliance, honestly. I wanted to set her mind at ease to avoid confrontation or any confusion. It was more really about that. And I did get into a routine of it. I kind of enjoyed it. I had a couple people that thought that was really good. Earlier, I talked about being a divorced dad. When I was married, there were definitely points where people that normally would not like me liked me because of things that they saw in me as a husband and a father. And that helped me a lot gain credibility with people that didn't like me. That now, if you flip it, those people would really not like me. I did it to, okay. So then these children of mine, I got a solid 9 years as a dad, really. The last 3 were pretty rocky. I'd say the first 5 were my favorite. I was stone sober during my first 5 years as a dad. The first 5 years I was stone sober were probably the best years of my life. I did a lot of good, I think. I hope. I think I did with my children. I planted enough. I really did try. I mean, I had a lot of failings. Sometimes your failings also as a father can be very beneficial. Not that that's a good way to say it, but you have to look at the good in everything, especially after it's all after the aftermath of it, what was positive from the situation. We literally broke the seal. So we went 5 years without drinking. I went 5 years without drinking or smoking cigarettes. I had an oath whenever my first daughter, my biological first daughter, I was taking on the role of being a father and owning that she was mine. Before she came out, I knew that I needed to make some changes in my life. So I made an oath to quit smoking cigarettes. And I knew the only way I was going to be able to do that was to quit drinking. So I made an oath. And I really wanted to show my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time, but I wanted to show her that I could do this. And I think it did help a lot with just our overall ability to move into a family unit. It gave me respect, I think. But so on our 5 year, we tried to really enjoy each other. And we broke the seal with White Russians. And then we went and saw the Jersey Boys. And it was a nice night. I actually remember the night fondly, for the most part. But what's done is done. I think that after that, it had I think I actually knew that night. I think I actually knew that night that we probably were not something that was going to last. Now that I think about it. Because I really didn't want to drink. I don't think my daughter's, that's not to put that on her. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I just knew at that point, like, I had come so far. I did not want to do that because I was carrying a very strong thing. And it was very helpful for me as my status. And that's what I didn't want to give up. I hope my children aren't embarrassed of me. I hope I haven't brought them shame. I hope I haven't. But like I've said, I'm hoping to make this positive somehow. So that's all I can really do. I did a lot of positive. I know that I did. I truly do think that alchemy of life is about transmuting into something beautiful. I think that's the best thing you can do. And sometimes whenever you go through the most difficult circumstances and you self-destruct, that is potential to show what can become of that. And it shows people that you can recover. And I think the thing is, the ring is always there. So there's a bell right here. Like, this is a good example. This is a bell. The ring is always there, whether it's ringing or not. And it's the same with this. That sound is always there, whether I hit that or not. How much longer do I go? Whew. Oh, that's not too bad. We're at this is the longest video ever. Whether you ring them or not, the ring is always there. That's what I'll have to label this video something about ringing the bell, or the bell was always there, or maybe the tree fell in the forest thing. As long as I have a breath, I have a chance. I did end it with the Dumb and Dumber thing. I really do think that movie is pretty funny. I had a great experience with it, but I love that character, Lloyd Christmas. And I will say, Christmas I don't think his last name is by accident. So you're saying I've got a chance. The best line, though, that point where they're over the fire and their hands are freezing. And he looks at Lloyd and he's like, "You've had 2 pairs of gloves the whole time?" And Lloyd's just saying, "My hands are kind of toasty here. You want to use these?" "Yeah, we're in the Rockies." "I'm going to kill you, Lloyd." Man, I love that. I love that part. It was so funny. I think my granddad would be proud of me today. I think that my grandpa's name was Lloyd. That's where I went with that. My oldest brother's Scott. His first name was Lloyd, actually, but he didn't own that. I think I would have owned that. That's not to say I'm sorry, Scotty. Scotty's a cool name too, but I think somewhere in my life I would have said, you know what? I am going to be Lloyd. I like Lloyd. But I switched to Michael for a little bit, but that wasn't on my own doing. If he came to my house, my grandpa came to my house today, I'd be excited to sit and tell him about my life. I think that he would enjoy hearing me tell him about my life. And I think he would see and understand what I've went through. He knew me. And I think he would love to hear about it. I think he would be entertained thoroughly. So I'm paying myself in advance for these therapy sessions. 2 days, a new day to start again. At the end of this, that's what I came to, is my grandpa, Lloyd Lenning, was probably one of the most, if not the most, influential people in my life. And when I live my life, I try to live at least where he would not be ashamed of me, as what I try to aspire to. When I get done with all of this, if I get to see my grandpa and I get to talk to him, I want to be at the end of it and be like, I did everything I could. And I feel pretty good about that. With my mom too, honestly, and my dad. I think I've tried really hard. And honestly, with my kids too, I would like to do more. And there's so much more to do. So hopefully I get to. I think that's all we got. We keep it under 40. Look at this dang 37-minute video. I went off the rails. I hope that everybody has a great day out there. It's Sunday, fun day. No, it's not. It's Saturday. I don't even know what day it is. It's Saturday. I hope I have a good day at work. I've got plenty of time to get prepared for it. I'm going to take a hot bath and hang with Bodie. Maybe write a little bit more. Maybe I need to start doing that after I do these videos, do another little session of writing. Because I have time. Maybe I'll start doing that. I did get bit by a spider, and it's a bad bite. It really, and then I started thinking about that this morning. I'm like, that has an impact on you. I mean, there's venom that went into that, and it really puffed up, but that has a whole impact on everything whenever you get bit by a spider like that. I wonder if it's always bad. Maybe sometimes it's good. Hope everybody has a great day out there. Do great, be grateful. Maybe I'm Spider-Man. If I start doing some stuff like supernatural, that would be cool. I don't know if I want that. That's the big line from Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. Have a great day. Mary Jane would be cool, though. Isn't that what her name was? Kirsten Dunst in the first one, she was a knockout. That's for sure. That whole scene where he's going upside down and she gives him the whole kiss and he's just like a goober that has no business kissing a girl like that was pretty cool. Hope everybody has a great day out there. Do great, be great.